the acting was. No, I haven't.
Pizza's here.
I'll just beam it in.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have Chris Doohan and Vic Mignogna. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should stop now.
Yeah.
It does.
That's right. That was really good.
So Star Trek continues. It's ended, but it's not really ended because it's still around, and we
I hope
talk
not.
about it.
I hope it continues to grow. I hope that more and more people find out about it, and it continues to grow. And maybe at sometime in 10 years, it would be kind of considered as part of the milieu of Star Trek. People watch the original series, then they watch Star Trek Continues, then they go into the motion picture.
Yeah, but right now it seems to be just people learning about it word of mouth. There's somebody will say, "You got to see Star Trek Continues," and they say, "Really?" And then they see it, they go, "Oh my gosh!" Then they go to somebody else, "You got to see Star Trek Continues."
Yeah, there's so many stigmas attached to fan film. If you say a fan film or a fan production, the image that it conjures up is not always a complimentary image. But we are only a fan film in that we didn't make any money and we love the
passion for
the source material. True. But in every other way, the production quality and storytelling and the value of the production, I think, is about as high as it could be.
The one thing I was always thought of, watching the episodes. I haven't got off with every one of them yet. But
he's in for some surprises, isn't he, Chris?
Yeah.
But watching all the episodes, I always kept wondering how much Chris Doohan in Scotty and how much Vic Mignogna is in Captain Kirk in terms of acting.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So how much of me is in Scotty?
Yeah.
Well, my dad always said that Scotty was 99% him and 1% Scotty, right? I'm not quite there because I'm still.
You're at
I'm
71.
I'm like 71.6. But yeah, it's. I mean, Scotty's been a part of my life since I was 6 years old. So in a sense, it is. It has been a part of me, even though my father's role. It's something that I dealt with every day of my life. So, Scotty's this, your dad's this, and so you sort of. I guess I emulate him in some ways, but it's a big part of me. Yeah.
How much of me is in
Captain Kirk?
As little as possible.
You don't want too much.
No. Quite honestly, you know what? You know how much of Bill Shatner is in Captain Kirk? Bill Shatner is Captain Kirk. I mean, I've spent enough time with Bill, privately, socially, to know that he is Kirk. He talks exactly the same way when you're sitting at dinner as he does in, that's who he is. Yeah,
he's being him.
He is Kirk, which I think is probably what made the character so endearing. Is it's not a put on, it's him. And Jimmy Doohan was Scotty, like he just said. It was him. My desire with Star Trek Continues was for the viewers to feel like they were watching those characters, the ones that they loved from the original series. They don't need my take on Captain Kirk. I wanted them to have more of Shatner's Captain Kirk. They don't need Chuck Huber's idea of Dr. McCoy. I want them to have DeForest Kelley's Dr. McCoy, as much as we could, without it being satirical, without it being parody. A parody. Exactly. So my desire was to do as much as I could to communicate that Captain Kirk that I grew up with, that I loved so much. Certainly not get in the way. But if anything, I wanted to make him a little more real, to see perhaps a more vulnerable and imperfect side of Captain Kirk, with a more flawed, a more actual human being. Back in the 60s, the heroes of 60s television were always the heroes. They always saved the day. They always got the girl. They always came up with the answer. They always figured it out right. They always solved the problem. And while that's a really wonderful notion, there aren't really human beings who always do that. We make mistakes, and we stumble and fall, and we have our flaws. So I think one of the things that I was hoping to bring to him, and it's not anything that I made up, it's something probably Bill would have done had they continued the series, and that is to show a side of Captain Kirk that is flawed, that does struggle with his own humanity, that does make mistakes and hopefully learn from them. And I think, at least from the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of fans, that's been communicated.
It has.
In our series.
Especially Vic, though. I mean, everybody's blown away. I was blown away about how Vic did his job there. He was really amazing.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that character a lot. I mean, I did not want to satirize or spoof him. I would never want anyone to think I was mocking Shatner or Kirk because I loved them. And so it was very important to me to make sure and communicate my love for that character.
Wondering about the characters, obviously there was a mirror episode.
Our mirror episode was interesting because you didn't see much of Mirror Kirk and Mirror Scotty. Like in that original episode, there was just the one scene where they were in the brig, where they were dragging him to the brig. And you saw that aggressive, violent Kirk, ferocious Kirk. But, to make our episode and to spend the entire episode in the mirror universe with the Mirror Kirk, I thought he can't just be mean and crazy all the time. He has to be cunning and manipulative. He didn't rise to the position that he was without being that. So it was an opportunity actually to play more with that character that Shatner never had the opportunity to do, the Mirror Kirk. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
But what's really great about that too is that we recreated the transporter room scene where they're coming back, and Scotty has a line. What was it?
Captain, get in the transporter.
Get in the chamber.
Yes.
Captain, get in the chamber. And so we did that, and you can actually look online and see a side-by-side comparison of ours and the original. It's only that we're bringing in the series. We're bringing we're telling another story, but we had to create that just to start it, and it's really good.
Yeah, in fact, if some of your viewers haven't seen it yet, the fun part about our episode was that we recreated that last minute from Mirror Mirror, but then you never leave the transporter room. In the original episode, they beam back to the Prime Universe Enterprise and happily ever after. But what you didn't see was what happened when the Mirror landing party rematerialized in their chamber and what Spock did with that challenge that Kirk gave him, and that's what our story explores, and it was really a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm afraid that's all I have time for.
Well, thank you.
I'm really glad to be here around you and to being in part of this event and just watch all of you and
such a
great
StarTrekContinues.com.
Absolutely, you heard the man. StarTrekContinues.com.
And the price is right.
Free.
It's
all
free.
Free to watch.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, again, and live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.